What up, UFC T-Dot Breakdowns? We're here to talk about UFC on ESPN 36, Blachowicz versus Rakic. Right off the back, there was one canceled fight, Daniel Pineda versus Jamal Emmers. Probably would have been a good fight. Alright, hit the like and the subscribe and share with your friends and stuff if you like UFC and this tickles your fancy or whatever. First up, we had Bisping and Cruz on the commentary. So I always there's always a moment or two with those two. It's always fun. I like it. It's weird for UFC on ESPN card. Like, this had a lot of fights that made me think, like, man, this could win a bonus. This could win a bonus. Not just for the finishers, but for the fights themselves. Like, I wrote Fight of the Night with a question mark, I think, on 3 different fights. To start off, we had Nick Maximoff versus Andre Petroski. Maximoff is coming in all highly touted because he's 8-0. And hold on, let me readjust my screens here so I have a better view. Apologize. Yeah, so we had Andre Petroski versus Nick Maximoff. Nick Maximoff is coming in highly touted. He's 8-0. Andre Petroski was the biggest underdog on the card, and he, in the very first round, very quickly submitted him with an anaconda choke and called out Gerald Meerschaert. Next up, we had Tatsuro Taira versus Carlos Candelera. Both highly touted actually on this one, but Tierra's 10-0, so, and they're trying to make a big deal about him. Oh, he's coming out of the Far East. At some point, they said the South Pacific or something, which is weird because like, he's on the island of Okinawa in the South Pacific. Like, Okinawa ain't in the South Pacific. What the fuck you talking about? It's the southernmost point of the North Pacific, but it's not in the South Pacific. Like, just because it's a little island doesn't mean it's the people in Okinawa ain't brown, they white. And I don't mean that in a racial term. I mean that like in a literal term. Like, the people in Japan got white skin. The people in Thailand, Philippines got brown skin. Live closer to the equator, more sun. And yes, Okinawa does get more sun than probably the rest of Japan, but it is still a part of Japan in the northern hemisphere. It wasn't Anik. That's probably why he made that mistake. I hate to shit on the guys that aren't Anik, but Anik is so much better than the not famous commentators, like the not Rogan, the not former champion fighters. You know what I mean? But anyways, this is actually a really good fight. It's a bit of a chess match there at 125 pounds, so, you know, normally those guys aren't knocking each other out, but they actually both look like they could have knocked each other out. They're both so fast, just so fast. It was clear that Tyra wanted to grapple, but Candelera was like doing a good job of just keeping it away from that. In the second round, Tarek had a big knockdown and jumped right on his back, and he was doing a body triangle where he had his arm in the body triangle. So dude, he got one arm pinned to his body, other arm free, trying to fight, but he has his arm pinned to his body with his legs. Now both his arms are free to attack. But Candelera is like really good defensively. Like, he wasn't really mounting any offense, but he's really good defensively. At the very end, he ended up on the top. He lost that round, but he definitely ended very strong. And then, like, in the third round, it was a crazy scramble where Candelera had Tara in a headlock in a tight guillotine, but he got out of it, and then got back on his back, got him in that body triangle with his arm trapped again. He finished like with some really brutal ground and pound. Like I don't know what he was waiting for. He waited till like the last 30 seconds, and then he was just like, "Oh, now I'll make you look like I'm the winner." But he won by unanimous decision. What's funny is when he was getting interviewed in the ring, like he called his translator was in there, but before the translator could say anything, he wanted to say something in English, and he just yelled, "I'm happy, thank you." I was like, man, that's the most Japanese thing that the kid could have done at the end of his match. He looked very kawaii. Next up, he won by unanimous decision. Tesoro Tyra. They were saying his name weird. I don't know if they were saying it wrong or if it's not phonetically pronounced, but I'm not gonna look into it. He's brand new. We'll see when Anik says his name. And next up, we had Angela Hill versus Verna Jandabara. No, I'm saying it wrong. Jandiroba. Yeah, that's it. Verna Jandiroba. So when I first saw just the car Angela Hill versus Verna, I was like, oh no, for Angela. Oh no. Because Angela Hill is like a really good fighter, savvy striker, decent wrestling, decent jiu-jitsu. Verna she's like a little female Damian Maya who throws strikes with reckless abandonment because she don't care. She just want to get on ya. She's a fucking boa constrictor. Like, it's crazy. She has losses. I don't know. Like, it's like, damn, and then I watched the fights that she lost, but I can't remember her ever losing a minute of any fight. She's always she's so strong for how small she is. Like, for the weight division, she's strong. But anyways, I was really afraid for Angela Hill. But I gotta be honest, man, Angela Hill really impressed me. Angela Hill is so much better than I ever expected her to be. I'm always rooting for her and I want her to win, but she's always better than I expected her to be. I wish there was a way to just give her some power. Because if she has some power, Angela Hill will be dangerous, right? So in this fight, she came out and was trying to wrestle, trying to take Jandiroba down. It was dope. She was surviving the jiu-jitsu, and Jandiroba was definitely trying to snap and break and choke, which is what she does. I gave the first round to Verna, but the second round I gave to Angela. Excuse me. It was a close round, and it was like, it wasn't like there was a definitive winner or anything like that, but I feel like Angela was in control. Even when they were grappling and Verna was, doing what she could to try to go for submissions, like, I just feel like Angela was in control. I feel like she was in control the whole fight, to be honest with you. Third round, I felt like it was the same deal. Angela was being aggressive. Angela was taking her to the ground. Angela was grappling. But Verna's grappling was just better. You know what I mean? But Angela's defense was really good. I honestly feel like Angela won this fight, but they gave it to Verna by unanimous decision. I feel like I don't feel like anybody was robbed, but I don't know. I don't feel like Verna really did anything, but I feel like Angela did more things to indicate that she was the superior fighter in virtually every way than Verna did in that fight. And that's why I feel like she won, because it wasn't clear. Every round was pretty close. The only round I feel was decisive was the second round, and I gave that one to Angela Hill. But I did give the other two rounds to Verna, but I also put that those rounds were pretty even. And when I was watching the fight, I remember when they called Verna by unanimous decision, I was kind of like, damn, not even a split. So, anyways, next up we have Michael Johnson versus Alan Patrick. This dude, right? His name is Alan Patrick, right? But I mean, if you just read it as Alan Patrick, right? This is the problem with these names, right? So you have a name that's spelled as no vowels, just all consonants, just ZKYWX. And then the name is Blachowicz. You're like, what? How does that work? And then you got a name that says Alan Patrick, but that's not his name. It's Alan Patrice. Anyways, Alan Patrice versus Michael Johnson. Alan Patrice is really he's explosive and like athletic as shit, and the things he does are crazy. Like he be doing capoeira moves, and it's crazy. And then you got Michael Johnson, who's like, I feel bad for Michael Johnson because I feel like his striking is like probably top 5 in the division, top 5 in most divisions, but I don't know if he has any other quantifiable skill that's top 5. You know what I mean? And so it's a shame because when you see him fighting someone who can't neutralize his striking, he looks like one of the best fighters in the world. And then when you see him fight someone who can, like a Khabib, he don't look so great. You know what I mean? It sucks for Michael Johnson because he's so talented. He's one. Oh, I love to watch him strike. It's amazing watching Michael Johnson strike. Literally, the first thing I wrote in the notes for this match is Michael Johnson's lightning fast. I feel like he was winning the grapples, even standing. He was on the grapples, and Patrice wanted to grapple, but that Patrice dude is dangerous, man. In the second round, he threw this crazy. He was down, like kind of trying to hope Michael would come into his guard, and he didn't. And he threw this capoeira style head kick from the seated position, like never got up, just like up on his arms, threw a head kick, landed it. That was a crazy move, but it didn't matter. Michael Johnson got up and landed a 4-hit combo where he was going like body, head. Just knocked him out. He's an amazing striker, Michael Johnson. All right, the prelim main event, is that what you call it? The feature prelim was being against Vivian Araujo and Angela Lee. I love both of these fighters. I think they're both very beautiful. Like, I just find them both very beautiful. Not that I don't think any other fighters are beautiful, but these two specifically are ones that like I enjoy them, and I'm just like every time I see that Araujo, I'm just like, and I don't even know what it is about her. She's not like classically pretty or anything. Like Angela Lee is pretty. She's like, but she does something. Anyways, this is a good fight. Both fighters bring the aggression. They're both up and comers. They're both doing really well at the beginning of their careers. Angela Lee, I really like her a lot. She really goes out there to get it, and Vivian is like, she's a little tank, to be honest with you. Anyways, so right in the very beginning, Vivian landed this like double jab to the cross, and then like flash knocked down Angela Lee. And then right after that, Angela Lee knocked her down. She landed a left hook that put her down. As she was getting back up, she caught her with a head kick and then kneed her in the face. It was like, yo, what a right? Araujo had a big dump takedown. She had her like up on her shoulders, and at some point when they were kind of scrambling on the ground, and Araujo had one of Angela Lee's legs up like this in side control, and in my mind I'm just like, Herb Dean, what are you doing? Get in there and get the count. 1, 2, 3. If you go back and look at the end of round 1, she's literally WWE pinning her. She's got one leg in the air like this, and she's in side control on top of her. All right, anyways, I was just waiting for her to kick out. Herb didn't count, though. At the end of round 1, I felt like it was close, but I gave it to Angela Lee. At the end of round 1, Tony Kelly was Angela Lee's corner. So Angela Lee got back, and she's like, they asked her something like, are you tired of something? She's like, no, but she like tried to stick her whole thumb in my eye. And she's like, you know, it's not really that big of a deal, but it was like, she already had my back. And in her corner, Tony Kelly, who the announcer specifically said his name after the comments he made. He was like, that was Tony Kelly. But Tony Kelly said, he was like, I'm quoting him. He was like, yeah, they're dirty fucking Brazilians and they're gonna fucking cheat like that. But we're here to fuck someone up and we will oblige. And then the announcer was like, that's Tony Kelly with some colorful language. Like, that motherfucker was like, disassociate that from the UFC. She had her in a rear mount and jammed her whole thumb in her eye. Round two, there were like some really heated exchanges, and then at some point, I believe Angela Lee got injured or hurt because she had this weird like desperation shot at Araujo's feet. I keep fucking yawning. I'm drinking coffee. Araujo, after the desperation shot, like went right on the back, got both her hooks in, flattened her out. I'm surprised that Angela Lee made it to the third round because of how bad it looked. She was just trying to sub her, and it was bad that second round, but she survived it. On the third round, Angela Lee actually got a takedown, got right back up. I'm sorry, Araujo got a takedown, and Lee got back up. She tried this like weird hook. She was doing pretty good on the feet, and then she tried this like hook kick, I believe. Araujo caught it on her shoulder, took her down. She kind of fell into it, and Bisping said, there was definitely a banana peel in there for sure. Because she kind of fell down. She didn't get taken down as much as she kind of lost her balance and was like this. She pushed her like, at some point, Cruz, it was like breaking it down, explaining exactly what happened. And Bisping was like, listen here, DC, which is funny because he's Dominic Cruz, but also funny because Daniel Cormier is the technical analysis guy. He goes, listen here, DC, don't get technical with me. I like the dynamic between Bisping and Cruz. It's always a little chippy. But yeah, Angela Lee has crazy heart. She's always in the fight, and she's always there to win no matter what the outcome is. I feel bad for her. Viviana Araujo won by unanimous decision. I don't believe it was a unanimous decision by any. I think Angela might have won that fight, but she definitely looked the worst. She took the more damaging blows, and Araujo, she was in control in the grappling, but she wasn't dominant. You get what I'm saying? Like, the grappling was pretty even kill. She was just the attacker more than the defender. I mean, don't get me wrong, nobody was robbed here. I don't feel like, but I do feel like a unanimous decision in that fight is kind of crazy to me. I don't believe that was a unanimous decision. I think if anything, it was a split decision for Araujo or Lee. But anyways, I feel like Angela Lee will be back, and Araujo is, yeah, she's a solid contender. I look forward to seeing her fight again against somebody who is maybe a little bit more evenly matched with her on the ground. And put her in there against what's her name that just beat up Angela Hill. Actually, she didn't beat up Angela Hill. She just won. If anyone beat up anyone in that fight, it was Angela Hill beating her up. But again, she didn't have anything on her face. She just, her eye is a little messed up. But other than that, all right, on to the main card. We got Jake Hadley versus Alan Nascimento. I did not enjoy this fight. It was like ding ding ding, and they both like pretended to throw a punch and then just grabbed each other. And like that was the rest of the fight was just like that. And like it's like two guys who are both rigid grapplers who are normally so strong no one can stop them. So you just have these two boards trying to. The whole fight looked like that to me. Just two dudes on the ground. And don't get me wrong, there's grappling matches that are wonderful, fun, entertaining. This is not one of them. Alan Nascimento won by unanimous decision. Next up, we had Frank Camacho. That's how much I have to say about that fight. Every round, it'd be like, ding, ding. All 3 rounds. It wasn't even good like scrambling. It was just, ugh. All right. That fight is the kind of fight that gives grapplers a bad name. If you only watch one UFC event this year and that's the one you watch, you would hate grappling because of that fight. I don't hate grappling. The Angela Lee fight was a lot of grappling. It was a great fight, entertaining. It was back and forth. There was turmoil. There was submissions. You know what I mean? This dude's like, the one guy just kept trying to do rubber guard every single time, no matter what. And so it was just a battle of this guy trying to do rubber guard and this guy trying to get out of rubber guard and get position. No thanks. Anyways, next up we have Frank Camacho versus Manuel Torres. Apparently Frank Camacho's been out for a while. I didn't even notice he had left, but Frank Camacho's kind of a... he's a little bit of a journeyman, but like, he's one of them journeymen that, like, you know, Frank Camacho can come out and give you a show. He's a dude from Guam. They've got special skulls. Look that shit up. I'm not just being racist. And this is a fight I enjoyed a lot. Fireworks from the start. They was just like, let's see who can take more bombs to the face. Deal. Bow, 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 bow. It's a fun fight. Fast. It was only 1 round. It was a fun fight. Fast. Torres kept landing this check left hook. And I think the first time he followed up with a right hand after it, KO. He landed that check left a lot of times. And it seemed like the first time he was like, let me see what happens if I throw the right. Camacho was like, he jumped on him. He hit him a couple times. Or actually, I don't even think he hit him. I think he jumped on him and started to hit him. And Herb Dean was like, nah, man, that's enough. And the thing was, they was on the feet hurting each other. But Camacho was taking the worst of it, and that left-right really looked bad. And when he was on the ground, he must have looked bad. And what I love is that Camacho jumped right up and got a Herb Dean face and kind of went on like, it's a little early, Herb. He didn't say like, hey man, because he knew. Because when he jumped up, I think he was a little wobbly, and Herb was waiting for him to say something. He didn't say that. He just kind of looked at him, but he went, that's a little early. Like, I probably was on my way out, but you could have let me have a couple more seconds there. I kind of respect the honesty of that. Instead of on wobbly legs being like, I'm not out, he just was like, that was a little early, Herb. But he wasn't like, you know, he didn't get up in his face and get belligerent or nothing. But just that was just a little moment I noticed that I kind of enjoyed. All right, next up we had Torres won by TKO. Next up we had Caitlin Chikugian versus Amanda Ribas. Amanda Ribas went up in weight because she didn't want to have a long layoff. She wanted to fight. Probably not a great idea for her, because she's really been on a tear, winning a lot of fights. As a matter of fact, I think she's one of the few people to beat that the Verna, the one that fought, the scary one that Angela Hill fought. Like, I think Ribas beat her. Amanda Ribas is a dog. To be honest with you, I feel like she won this fight. I really feel like not just like on some, maybe it could have been a split. Nah, she won this fight. She's fighting somebody much bigger than her, #1 contender in the weight class up, and I feel like Ribas basically won every part of this fight. Not every single part, but I feel like she outclassed her. Of course, Chookagian had better, longer reach. She's bigger, she's stronger, so at range she was looking real good. But especially at the end, man, Ribas was tearing her up, and then on the ground she was tearing her up. Submission attempt. Anyways. Caitlin be talking shit. Like, her shit, she don't be talking shit like I'm mad or nothing, but she just says the meanest shit in the most calm, collective way. It's very unintelligent of her to move up in weight class and try to fight me. Anyways, first round, very close, but I gave it to Ribas. What's funny is Caitlin Chookagian before the fight was like, she's clearly gonna just try to get me in a headlock and do the freaking hip throw, and it's not gonna work. She did it to her in the first round. I felt like Rebus won that whole first round for the most part through grappling and wrestling. Um, Caitlyn did get up at the end and start striking, and she looked really good. Caitlyn's corner, the corner work was masterful. Masterful. Like the dude wasn't like, oh, you gotta get pumped up, or oh, breathe, or you're doing good. Let's see some more ones and twos. Nope. The corner was like, oh man, you're doing really good. You could throw the left to the body because she's ducking her head down, and then you put your hand here. You should be able to catch that jab when she's moving. And if you circle off to the right, you'll catch her off guard with the hook. Those aren't the exact instructions. I didn't write them down, but my point is, like, the instruction they gave her was actual, quantifiable. Like, we just saw her doing this, so change up to this other thing we've already drilled because she's showing weakness to that in what we saw in round one. See, that's what every corner should be doing. If you're a corner or a coach, if you're cornering someone, go look at her corner. Go study what they're doing. James Krause does this too. Don't get me wrong. They're not the only corner that does it, but just the way he gave it to her. You couldn't corner better than that. That's how you're supposed to corner. Like, you're not supposed to be, I mean, don't get me wrong. You got to do other stuff in them corners too, but like that right there, like that's the shit, right? When you get out of a round that you maybe lost, maybe won, instead of being like, I need more out of you, you almost lost. That dude was like, here's what you did good, here's what she did wrong, and here's how you can capitalize it off the things we've already drilled. Perfecto. All right, second round. Again, I had Rebus winning. She had a lot of control time. She was winning most of the grappling, and she was doing okay in the striking. But clearly, Caitlyn has a striking advantage. She's bigger, she's longer, she's stronger, she's a better striker. But Rebus, no slouch, heart. All right, third round. Literally, the first thing I wrote for the third round is just wow, fight of the night. But that's because the end of the fight, they were literally just standing in a phone box, screaming as they threw punches. Just I had chills. It was giving me chills, like just warriors. This is the fight of the night for me. Well, this is like I said, a lot of fights were deserving of bonuses in this thing. I haven't watched the what Dana said, so maybe there were. Yeah, and the judges saw this split decision for Caitlyn Chikagian. And like when you think about it, listen, man, she's the number one contender in a weight class that Rebus don't fight in, right? It doesn't benefit that weight class for her to win, right? Everyone loses except for Rebus if she wins, right? But if Chikagian wins, it doesn't really disrupt the peace. It doesn't hurt Rebus. She moved up in weight class. She almost won. And Caitlyn Chikagian solidifies her number one contendership. And that way, when they give her the title shot, it looks, it don't look suspect. It's like when Izzy went up and fought Jan. Like, Izzy don't really lose no clout for losing to a heavyweight or a light heavyweight champion. But Jan gets to say, I beat Izzy. But also, it's like, yeah, but like, come on. So it doesn't hurt Izzy, but it helps Jan. And that's kind of what this fight looks like to me. I'm not saying they did it on purpose. I'm just saying that's how the cookie crumbles. All I'm saying is, if you ask Vince McMahon, he'd say, good plan, Dana. All right, next up we had Davey Grant versus Louis Smolka. This is a good fight. This is actually the only other fight that made me think maybe Caitlyn and Amanda wasn't the fight of the night, because it was a good fight, man. Davey Grant, I think that he needs to work with the Diaz brothers on learning how to throw a punch without putting everything into it, because I don't think a single strike he threw didn't have murderous intent. And this was 3 rounds. They fought for 3. This wasn't 1 round. Every punch had murderous intent. 3 rounds. Every punch. He would hit Lewis's arm, and Lewis would be like, he was hitting hard. But Louis Smolka's a crafty vet, and he's tough as nails. He's a Hawaiian dude, but he's a little skinny guy. So you don't realize he's Hawaiian until he get in the ring and he starts getting hit with anvils, and he's just like, cool punch, bro. But I don't even know if he sounds like that. But every punch, every leg kick, every kicking is everything. But Davey's boxing, so clean, so crisp, and he would mix it up with kicks just enough to like keep Smoker guessing. And he was doing this kind of Lomachenko sidestep thing where he'd hit you doot and then side circle you so that now he's to your side, so you're still facing this way, and he's, you know what I'm saying? That's what Lomachenko would do. He wasn't quite doing that, but he was doing something like it where he was spinning off him and kind of turning him around where when Smoker wanted to return, he wasn't there to return to. And he was already off to the next one. So when Smoker would turn back to him, he piecing him up again. Step off him. Piece up again. Step off him. It was very reminiscent of the way Lomachenko controls space and controls his opponent. He was doing crazy stuff, spinning back kicks, spinning punches. Smoker definitely brought his chin in his heart for this fight. He got hit so many times in that first round that by the end, a freaking jab knocked him down. It wasn't the jab that knocked him down, it was the accumulation, but the jab was just the straw. You know what I mean? I felt like that was clearly a Davy Grant round. Second round, Smoker really did better. It was still a back and forth. Davy Grant never stopped trying to kill Smoker with every punch. Davy Grant never stopped being probably the superior striker. But Smoker is real, like I say, he's crafty. He's a wily vet. And Smoker's no slouch. Like, you know, and I think he's just a bit of a slower starter. And I think he wasn't ready for how hard Davy was hitting initially, and he had to kind of get acclimated to that because he looked so good in the second round versus the first round. I gave that round to Smoker, but it was like, you know, pretty close. In the third round, there was a point where Dominic Cruz was talking about how he's landing all these leg kicks, and I don't know if Smoker can take another one. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He literally said, Louis Smoker can't eat another one of those calf kick. Smoker went down from the calf kick. Like, literally, as Cruz was saying it, he went down from the calf kick. And then, like, you could tell immediately. Like, he had that misstep after he got kicked in the leg. You know what I mean? Like that, like he tried to just do a normal step, like nothing's wrong, and his leg was like, it is wrong. And then he tried to take a shot. It was a bad shot, and Grant got on top like he was gonna grapple, and Smoker was like, cool, let's wrestle, or let's do some jiu-jitsu. And he put his legs up to get guard, and Grant just like kind of scooted over to the side of him and just bow. Like he wasn't in him. He wasn't in his guard. He just was on the ground on his knees next to him. So he basically just, from his knees, threw like a hooker cut, like a hook uppercut to a laying down opponent from his knees. Is one of the most unique knockout punches I've ever seen. Anyway, David Grant from by KO, third round. Next up, we had Ryan Spann versus Ian Cutelaba. Excuse me. I can't believe I'm still yawning. Ian Cutelaba is always entertaining. He's a madman, and he reminds me of the Red Hulk from the comic books. Like, if you ever see the comic books, he's like the normal Hulk, only he has full control, and he just loves fucking shit up, and he's a complete asshole. That's what Ian Cutelaba. Ian Cutelaba is the guy who pretended to be dazed to trick his opponent, and he did it so good the ref stopped the match. Like he got hit and he was like, ooh, to try to lure his opponent in, and the ref was like, that's it, and he was like, dude, what are you doing? That's a strategy. I don't know what I don't know what his accent is. He's red, but he's not from a place you think red people are from. All right, and then he's fighting Ryan Superman Spann. And Ryan Spann is like, I think he's one of the most underrated fighters I've ever watched. I never expect him to win. I'm always like, oh, how's he going to pull this one out? And he just seems to always do it. Ryan Spann is good. Don't sleep on Ryan Spann. Literally, Ryan Spann called this fight. He said what he was going to do. That's what happened in the fight. Cutelaba kept getting Spann down, and Spann would just get his foot on his midsection and just kick him across the ring, off of him across the ring. He did it multiple times. And the first time he did it, he just kind of kicked him off. Second time he did, he kicked him off, and he ran at him, and they just kind of collided, got back down on the ground. So the third time when he kicked him off, he ran at him again, but this time he just caught him in a guillotine And I mean, it's a one-arm guillotine. He just grabs the other hand for leverage, right? So he's doing like this kind of guillotine, right? And I guess that's his specialty. He said he was going to do this. He gets him in that guillotine, and Kutalaba is hip. He's like, oh, we're going for a ride. Like, jumps in the air and spins him. And Span is just like, cool story, bro. Let's go. It was so fast. Like, the way Kutalaba tapped. And Kutalaba is a scary monster. To see him tap so fast, just, Span must have been breaking it. He must have been crushing his, like, stuff. Because the way Kutalaba tapped, he didn't tap like, fine. He tapped like, I'll do a super flip and slam you to get you off of me. Boom. Like, he tapped like he was about to die. And for a scary monster to be tapping like that, Ryan Span is no joke. This dude got crazy grip. He won by submission. It was a one-arm guillotine. They don't call it that, but it was a one-arm guillotine. One-arm front choke. Whatever you want to call it. Anyways, first thing he said after he got off Philippians 4:13, it's like one of the few Bible verses that's near and dear to my heart, is I can do everything through him who gives me strength. That's only part of the verse, but that's the part that I like. When Bisping tried to interview him at some point, he just was like, I did what I said I'm going to do, and for everybody in my weight class, I'm coming. He just walked away. And Bisping was like, hold on. I guess that's it. I like that. He came back to give Bisping a fist bump to let him know, like, it ain't no, I'm not trying to have no trouble with you. But it was just a good moment. All right, now for the main event, you got Jan Blachowicz versus Alexander Rakic. This is a good fight. Did not end the way I expected or the way anyone wanted, especially the way the fight was going. Started off early. Alexander Rakic jabbed Jan and just busted his eye open. But apparently Jan said after the fight that his trainer partner did that and it just got reopened off of that punch. Which I believe, because how the hell is a glancing, well, I guess a glancing jab would do that, but he just jabbed him and all of a sudden his eyes bleeding for the rest of the fight. Yeah. John was doing this lead left hook to the body right hand that was just landing every time he threw it. And it's like, that's a dumb move to throw. All this guy got to do is a 1-2 down the pipe, and he gonna stop that. But he was landing it over and over again. It was really effective. Also, he was checking the leg kicks heavy. Like the other guy, Rakic, was taking the leg kicks. Ouch, leg kick. Ouch, leg kick. Jan was checking them like with authority. Jerk. Like he was really checking them leg kicks. And here's the thing about Rakic's 1-2, like I was saying, if he threw the 1-2 to stop that left to the body right overhand, his 1-2 lightning fast and was like looking like it was hurting Jan. So he should have kept doing that. Anyways, I had Jan winning the first round. It was very close battle winning. Second round, Yakuza had takedown, triangle attempt. Excuse me. He had top control for almost that entire round. I gave that round to Rakic. Third round, it came out. Rakic, did he? I think he took a leg kick, and then I think he threw a leg kick, and then when he stepped back, his knee was just like, pew, boing, down. And you saw like some of the curtains fell a little bit inside his knee. I only watched it once, and that was enough. The announcers watched it 1,000 times because they enjoy pain, but and they're trying to spread that pain across all the people watching. But I only watched it the initial time, and it was enough for me. Like you could see his knee rupture. I'm guessing the tendon on the outer right side of his knee snapped. That's what I'm guessing. I haven't looked and seen what the official injury was, but just from what it looked like when he took that step, it looked like his fucking tendon ruptured or burst or tore. It was not good. He fell to the ground grabbing at his knee, and at first Jan ran up because I remember now. Jan hit him, but it wasn't like a knock. It was just a boom, and then Rakic took a step back. His knee popped, and then he collapsed. And Jan at first kind of was like, "Oh, is this a delayed reaction from that punch?" And he ran him. He got ready to hit him, but as he saw that Rakic was grabbing his knee, he actually showed some restraint and didn't hit him. Good shit on you, Jan, for being a gentleman. But yeah, and that's it. Jan wins by what did he win by? Technical decision? What did he win by? Oh, TKO. So Yeah, Jan Glover said he will rematch Jan because, or he will rematch Jan for winning this match, run back for the belt. So we'll see if the UFC wants to book that now. Or, sorry, Glover's got a fight coming up against, Yuri, oh my God, how do you say this guy's name? Przenska? Yuri, the guy with the top bun, and he does like his trainings, like he's punching trees and stuff. He does like Tony Ferguson hippie edition training. Not that I'm knocking him, I'm just saying his training is unconventional. But yeah, that fight. Oh, Valentina about to fight Tala Santos in that same card. Oh, Wei Zing, Whaley and Yelana again. That's got those. Oh man, I saw an interview with Yelana, John Jacek, and first of all, I don't know whatever. She's so pretty now, right? I don't like it for her because she's not. So I was gonna say she's not scary no more. That's not true. She's still horrifying. Like, so she's getting interviewed by this guy, right? I swear, like she's like a feral house cat. She's so pretty now, and I'm like, oh man, look how pretty Yolanda is. And she's giving the interview, and she's like, yeah, da da da. But then, like, at any given moment, she like punched that guy, right? And when she punched him, like she didn't like, she like punched him, like in the gut, like out of nowhere. And this dude's like a soft reporter. He's not a fighter. So you know what I mean? Like that punch probably really hurt when she hit that dude. And just you could see it in the fight. She had like or in the interview. There were just a couple moments where you could see the interviewer was always like, and not just that the interview was like, girl's a little dangerous. She also was being a little dangerous because that's who she is. But she don't look like that anymore. And that bothers me. She's looking and conducting herself like a beautiful model while also living the secondary life of being a monstrous murderer. And as Conor McGregor, I don't think those two match. I think she needs to choose. Anyways, thank you for listening. If you're still here, I love you. Like, follow, subscribe. Bye.